What would you have to say about this issue?
I don't think the issue is so much funding. I think it's more to do with manpower, because I think what we have to bear in mind is that a lot of it is to do with people coming forward and volunteering. I think it's also, in terms of some of the functions that the masjid should have nowadays, I think given the fact that we are in modern times, what some of the functions it should include is liaising with outside external agencies and organisations. And for example, with Nur Islam, what we have had is regular meetings. With the sisters are attending regular meetings at the hospital, the local hospital, and the maternity department to provide feedback on how the hospital can be assisting Muslim women more. And as a result of that, what we have had is the doctors coming to the masjid and sitting down with at least 50 women, having a discussion about their experiences and taking that as feedback. We've also had meetings at Scotland Yard to discuss concerns that the Muslims in the community are having. So as you can see, these sort of activities, it's not about the money. A lot of this is about trying to make sure that the masjid does have a voice, not just in the community, but externally as well. You know, we've had the borough commander, we've had the commissioner of Scotland Yard actually visit the masjid as well. Additionally, there's, in terms of dawah, there's opportunities through interfaith forums and arranging sort of interfaith walks. So these type of activities are showing you that it's more about volunteers coming forward and basically partaking in these activities.
MashaAllah. Well, we do have a caller on the line. We've got a caller, Sister Sabine from Nottingham. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Welcome to Women's AM, sister. Do you have a question or a comment for us?
Yes, it's more in terms of when you're talking about the role of a masjid, it obviously is an interchangeable. It's a very subjective area, and I think when you're looking at successful examples, whether you're looking at a mosque in Birmingham or wherever, cited anywhere in this country, it's important to ascertain and get public involvement, but not just involvement in terms of a board of members and they're deciding and they're making decisions. I mean it in terms of how would you see the role of the community and having a diverse representative voice, rather than having to just churn out a mosque which perhaps might not even fulfill the needs of the community.
Jazakallah khair. That's a really good question, Sister Table. Would you like to answer that?
I think in terms of there's different, the way we have it at Nurul Islam, we have a youth group, we have, as I said, we have a women's group. You know, we've got different groups representing those different diverse communities. So we do have, you know, classes being held for reverts. So it's basically people need to, this is where the masjids have to be open. They have to allow for that engagement to come forward. So it's not just you know, having a board of trustees and them not engaging with the public, because that's the wrong attitude and approach. What needs to happen is that there needs to be more sort of dialogue, and the masjids do need to come forward.
I totally agree, but I also think, you know, just coming back to what the sister was saying, because I think she made a really, really important point about the fact that often we're kind of not looking at what the community needs. And I've often seen, you know, just up and down the UK in general, we often have mosques which are specific to one community. So it will be, you'll go in the mosque and you'll just see, you know, a community of people that are there, and you won't see outsiders who feel welcome coming into that masjid. So often you'll have, like, you know, a community which is just like a South Asian mosque, or you know, the Arab mosque, or whatever else it is, and you start to associate these masjids with these particular communities. And I think that's really unfortunate. The masjid should be a place where anyone, it doesn't matter what background you're from, you should be able to go there. It's just like, you know, I was listening to a talk about this, and the sheikh was saying everyone has these types of things. You know, students, they have like common rooms, and it doesn't matter what you're studying, whether it's law or biology or whatever else it is, when you're in that place, you're just a student. It's the same with the masjid. It doesn't matter what background you're from. When you come into the masjid, that's all it is. It's just a place for Muslims to meet and interact.
It's true, because I've seen a lot of revert sisters who have unfortunately said that they don't feel feel comfortable going to certain mosques because they feel as though they're an outsider, because it is it is for one particular community, which is unfortunate because, you know, mashallah, we're so diverse as Muslims. We come from all sorts of backgrounds, and then to have mosques that are sort of exclusively for one sort of community, it's a sad reality that inshallah we can change in time.
I think one way around that is what we have in Waltham Forest is a council of mosques, and what that entails is that there's at least 8 masjids locally who have combined together. And what that, you know, and this should be encouraged practice, because what that means is that if there's one particular masjid who's not fulfilling, you know, the needs for the community, they can share ideas with other masjids. And so that can, to some extent, it can improve that communication and that dialogue, because sometimes if there's a problem where people are going into the community, approaching the masjid, and they feel that the masjid is not listening, at least you know, by having a council of masjid, you have different people on a similar level, so board of trustees telling the masjid this is how we run. And
so there will always be, you know, a platform for people to be listened to, inshallah. So what can we do, you know, because obviously the masjids are supposed to be for us, so what can we do as Muslims to ensure that we're getting the sort of best out of the masjid, inshallah? Sister Taiba.
Okay, I think what we have to first bear in mind is what's missing, what is missing from the masjid. If there is something lacking, we then have to look into what can we give. Okay, maybe it can be an hour a week, maybe it can be an hour a month. As, for example, if there are mothers, they can try holding a mother and toddler session at the masjid. And the purpose of having such a activity is twofold, because on one hand you will have sisters who are coming in, allowing their children to socially develop, and the other issue you then have is that you know, everyone has problems nowadays, and everyone is busy, everyone has problems, everyone's facing some sort of test. So just basically realizing that you're not alone. So one way to do that is come to the masjid, try to engage with other sisters, and that can sort of help alleviate some of these problems. So it's all about seeing, have you got 1 hour to give to the masjid? Come to the masjid. Sometimes the masjid doesn't want to always hear complaints, you're not doing this, you're not doing that, you don't have this. What they sometimes want to hear is, look, I have some time. I can give you, you know, I think this is missing. Can I possibly lead this project? Even a simple thing as a tea club, maybe once a month, or you know, we've got a scouts group for the youth. So just something very simple. It doesn't require a lot of funding. As a professional, what you can also do is come forward and show the masjid that, look, you know, I can bring my professional skills.
You just have to be proactive, inshallah. That is the main message. I know, Zainab, that you help run a mother and toddler group. What other things do you think we could do as a community to help sort of build up the role of the masjid?
I think if there's one message to take away, it's definitely give your time, isn't it? That, you know, it's what you guys are saying has just made me think about how there is no such thing in the deen as this kind of individualism that we tend to find around us. So it's like what you're saying, sometimes we become so bogged down in our own issues, my problems. I don't have a family, so that means kids don't matter to me. I have a family, therefore, you know, whatever's going on with, you know, I'm single, I'm a mother, so that has or young boys have nothing to do with me. We are, the sense of brotherhood in Islam is such an important and strong thing that, you know, we have a responsibility to each other, but we also have a responsibility to the community around us in the sense that we need to go out there and do da'wah. So it's not this whole thing of always saying, why isn't the mosque doing this, why isn't the mosque doing that? You are the mosque. That is the community. So we need to come forward and to help do all these things and to be part of that outreach program, taking the da'wah to the people, helping the mosque to be open. This is all, you know,
taking
in
some
addition
responsibility in what it needs to be done.
I think, sorry, just to add to that point, we shouldn't see it as something that we're just doing for ourselves. We should see it as something that we're doing for our children and the ongoing generation, because you've already discussed the fitna that is around at the moment for youngsters. So by us being more proactive as sisters in the masjid, we're doing that for the sake of the children, so that they have an alternative.
Absolutely, because it's not about the short term, inshallah. This should be something that we're looking to in the long term, and something that not only benefits us in this time, but inshallah benefits the children in the future.
And our akhirah.
And our akhirah.
This is the important thing, isn't it? Do these things for your akhirah.
The bonus to it, you may have the romance as well.
Yeah.
So appreciate that.
MashaAllah, Jazakallah khair, sisters. Well, whoever builds for Allah a mosque, even if it be tiny, like a bird's nest, Allah will build for him a house in paradise. And this is from Ibn Hibban. The rewards attached to the masjid are endless, from building it to cleaning it, maintaining it, and regularly praying within it. However, we as an ummah are understanding more and more about our deen and therefore expecting more from our masjids. And our responsibility is not to only build the mosque, but to also use it correctly as a place of refuge and teaching for the whole community. From meeting social needs to giving direction during times of Islamophobic harassment, the correct use of the masjid is crucial for the community in our struggle to maintain our Islamic identity. Well, it's always great to end the discussion with a reminder, but what do you think about the issue? We'd love to hear from you and your comments. Please email us at womensam@islamchannel.tv or contact us via Islam Channel's Facebook page, or you can tweet us at Islam Channel #WomensAM. We're off to another break now, but do stay tuned as we'll be back with our last segment where we take a look at the other half and we give some advice. So stay tuned. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.